Just continuing on with the Tree of Death. Some of you may be wondering what would actually happen if the Tree of Death was completed. That means this earth was taken in its entirety. Well, first of all, the tree would be complete, and aspects of what we know as the veils of negative existence, that being the N veils, like N, Sof, they wouldn't have any place in this tree, because the tree would be singular, and the veils of negative existence connect the trees in the four worlds. So it's not just one tree crossing over four worlds, it is four separate trees in each world. So at the moment you've got Kemetil, Belial and Aphiel, which are just concepts, and the concepts can't come into being until the tree is completed. Now, the point of having a tree, or a satanic tree if you want to say that, is that in Assia, by doing so you would actually preempt Judgment Day for what you would know as hell would already exist. There would be no reason or need for God to create hell, and it would not be created by him, it would not be subject to his laws. So we're looking at a complete break-off. And there are planetary aspects in the Tree of Life. You know, with Beta you have Saturn, Hesed you have Jupiter, and so on. And you might be asking, does this mean those planets will come under the control of Satan? Whether that be Lucifer or Moloch. Well, seen as at the moment that the demons do not have physical bodies, and because they cannot operate in the other three worlds, such as Absolute, Emanation, Bria, Creation, or Yetzirah, Formation, they might not have complete control over the other planets. But then again, you know, if you look up in the sky and say, I see the moon, you only see the face of the moon or half the moon, you don't see the entirety. This is where the dark side of the moon part comes into occult. It's like you got Saturn and Mars and all that. Even if you are able to see them, you only see one facing of it. You don't see what happens on the other side, because you cannot see a planet in its entirety in any single city. So what you most likely have is the demons associated with those particular planets. They could simply get off the planet and just wait for it to revolve, or wait for us to revolve around the sun, and then get back on and commence again. It's like with the planetary hours. You have waiting periods between when a particular planet has influence on the Earth. So for magical workings, you know, you could say from the time that the planet first comes into our sector, so to speak, you might have to wait 8 hours before it does so again. So the magical workings would not be changed per se. They just wouldn't be fully available at any given time, which is the case we have now. So it wouldn't really make much difference. So let's assume that this planet is lost in its entirety. The three equivalents for the tree of death come into being. But the thing is, all this could happen while you're still alive. And you're thinking, what happens to me? When I die, do I go to heaven or do I go to hell? No, because you're already dead. And people ask, how would I know if I'm in hell? Now, depending on who's actually running the joint, if it's Lucifer, initially you probably wouldn't notice much different to the way things are now. Because you have people living lifestyles which would be consistent with being against God. And you have people who basically their sense of right and wrong at any given time can change according to their circumstance. So you can say they are without souls, which is one thing that in order for the tree of death to be an independent and viable entity, that any life apart from the demon realm and its members must be deprived of a soul. As I said, this earth in this world consists of both Tebel and Shalin, the immanent and the transcendent. If you have people giving up their souls, giving up their stake in Shalin for Tebel, such as giving up their souls for money, because money is inanimate, then you more or less are handing over the earth to Satan, the title. And the people, once you give away your soul, then you're basically just an animated carcass. So it would be reasonably easy enough for a demon to take possession of your body, because if you've thrown your soul away, then your physical body and the animated spirit which keeps you going would not function. It's just abandoned. It's like an abandoned car. If you leave the keys in, you shouldn't be surprised if someone takes it. So what would happen if all this came true? Oh, that's difficult to answer, because human bodies, as well as any other organic life, is subject to the laws of thermodynamics. So you could end up in a... Put it this way, if you've seen the movie Escape from LA, where they have, it's LA's been more or less turned into a giant prison and there's no law on it whatsoever. And you have, I think as I remember, it was the Surgeon General of LA, and he paid people to steal living bodies, kidnap them, and then he'd cut them up for spare parts. That is a situation we could get into, because it's not possible for Satan to create or formate or emanate. So if we look at the tree of death in its entirety, assuming that it comes into being completely under the control of the Satan. And we have the equivalent of the 3 N veils. The only thing that would be missing, though could come about of their own accord, is what's known as a ring pass knot. And that's basically like a spiritual force field. So if you were, let's say you still had your soul, or you got it back once the tree was broken off, then your soul could not escape this earth in this world. You just wouldn't be able to. So it would be eternal. So your state here would be eternal. And assuming that people or human beings would still be able to reproduce, whether by design or default, or by force or voluntary, you would end up in a situation where you would be in a type of reincarnation, and there would be no time out from your first time you die to the second time. You would still be bound to this earth in this world, and you'd be completely separated. So you kill yourself 100 times over, you'll be reborn 100 times over, and you'll still be stuck here. So this world would be completely cut off, so there would not be any hope of interference by God. And indeed there probably wouldn't need to be.